I see within her the same thing I see within Lakeland or even Hunter or the other two fours I know is that they get to a point where they have to get out in the world. Like that four still needs to be like fed in a way. It's like they really like their alone time, but when they spend too much time alone and they're not out with the people or with their people,
Mhm.
it becomes this yearning that draws them out. And then they'll go out, but then they got to go back. Like they can't spend too much time out in the world.
They just need
They got to come back.
little dose. They're like, all right, I got my people, and now I'm gonna go back home.
Human Design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, your Human Design guide.
And I'm Haley, on this journey with you to uncover the power of human design.
Together, we're here to explore how embracing your authentic self is the ultimate path to a life of more freedom and fulfillment.
Welcome to the Human Design Hive Podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello, Haley. How you doing?
Hey, good.
Good to see you again. Welcome back to the Human Design Hive Podcast. I am Dana, and you are?
Haley.
Haley, of course. Just said your name, but it's always good to put it together sometimes. But we're glad to have you here as we continue on our profile series we've been working on, going through each one of the Human Design profiles as a standalone episode, as a little resource for y'all, because that's why I'm here, is to bring you resources. But it's just, I was just thinking before we got started here, you were sharing with me through Snapchat, one of the ways we communicate through text, Snapchat, Instagram, of your adoring dog, Bailey, in the other room, taking over the guest bed.
Yes, she like expertly knows how to use a body pillow. Like not in this instance, but I sent you a Snapchat the other day. She is full on hugging this body pillow.
I know. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's my body pillow. That's the one I use when I'm there.
But her currently right now, she is like wedged between the body pillow and the other pillows on the bed, just like completely on her back, just peaceful as can be.
Just for fun. I don't know if you can turn your camera you just showed me, because you can see her. There she is. There she is. You can barely see her. She's on the bed. Oh, there's her.
Oh God, this is really hard. I'm sorry for everyone. There she is.
Just living the life of a dog, man.
I know.
Like she won the doggy lottery in incarnation, because she got you, first of all, and then you moved her to Colorado, where dogs are like kings and queens in Colorado. They're the most treasured animals.
Yes.
And she has her own bedroom.
Yes. She has, to be fair, we did not give her own bedroom. She has taken it over as her own.
The body pillow.
Yeah. But now in the house, we have the porch, and she can just go lounge in the sun, which is honestly one of her favorite things. That's what she does most of the days. Most of the day, like when I'm working, she'll be in that room she's in, currently laying on the floor, because that's where the sunshine is. She follows the sun all day long. She likes her tan.
Yeah. But all right. So let's get on to the topic at hand today, which is profile. We've been doing this series, as we said, because everybody really jives with the profile when they first come to human design. And it's something that's so interesting across the board, I think, in human design, because you resonate with it rather quickly when you hear the description of your profile. And also last week we did the 5-2 profile. So we talked a lot about projections and all this stuff with the line 5. And for a lot of people, especially for a line 5, learning about their profile could be quite liberating, because you may find that there is this aspect of you that you didn't quite understand before. But when you see it explained in human design as how you're meant to interact with those around you, it is how you learn. It's how you go about sharing yourself with the world. The profile makes a lot of sense. And so where does profile come from, Haley?
So if you're looking at your chart, you are going to be focusing on the sun and the earth, so the top two numbers, top two planets, numbers, boxes, however, in your chart. And you're going to get the first line of your profile from the right, from the black numbers. It's going to be the number, that's after the decimal point in those first two boxes. So that's going to be the first part of your profile. It's your first line. And then the second line is just the same thing, just on the left side on the red numbers. So that's it.
Yes. And so, yes, they are expressions of the gate energy. So the gates correspond to the I Ching aspect of human design, and the 60 in the I Ching, there's 64 hexagrams. In the human design system, there's 64 gates, and they're basically in the context of human design, we use them as they are kind of archetypes, expressions of the whole human experience of what makes us human, how we do things, how we interact, how we express. And so the hexagrams in the I Ching, there's 6 lines in a hexagram, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, upper trigram, lower trigram. And the different lines are different flavors of that hexagram's expression in the simplest terms. This is very broad terms. And so it's going to make that gate express a little bit differently in how it goes about doing things in the world. Your profile, as Haley just said, is a combination of those two numbers because they're going to be different from one side of the chart to the other, from the conscious to the unconscious. You're never going to have a 2-2 or 4-4 or 1-1. It's going to be a combination of these numbers, and that's just how the sun is moving through the chart, blah, blah, blah. So as far as what these lines represent, we always like to share in this series a little analogy that is taught in the traditional human design system that is about a house analogy of if you were looking at a house, what the different parts of this house that these lines represent. So, Haley, this is your expertise. Take it away.
Thank you. So, it's a simple, just standard 2-story house. So we have the line 1, which is the foundation of the first floor. It's the floor. It's like solid, the literal foundation. The line 2 is the first floor windows, but you have the curtains open, so the line 2 can be seen. You have then the line 3, which is the staircase from the first to the second floor, because it's a kind of transitional energy. And then we have the line 4, which is the second floor, the foundation of the second floor. It's a little different than line 1 because the line 4 is a little more relationship. What is the word I want? Relational. I always want to throw the ship in there.
Relationship focused, yeah.
Yeah, so like typical 2-story house, that's where your bedrooms are. So that's where you have a lot of your relations. And then the line 5 is the second floor windows, but the curtains are drawn. Little very line private, 5 peeking out. And then the line 6 is the roof because it's got that long view. It's looking.
It's looking. Yes. And so in that analogy and also in the lines of the profiles, the first 3 lines, the 1, 2, 3, that bottom level of the house, let's say. The line 1, as you said, creates the strong foundations. It's somebody who likes to learn through gathering knowledge, through books, through learning, through teachings, through other teachers, all this stuff. It's very much like in the material world foundations of what it's all about, what the world is about. And so it's craving stability through information. It's security through information. And so that's why it's the ground floor, because that creates your strong foundation for your house, is the line 1. The line 2, which is what we're talking about today, we're doing the 2-4 profile. The line 2 is, as you said, that's the curtains are open, people can look in. But the line 2 has a way of going about things which is more natural. We're going to talk about in just a second the way it learns things through experience. Line 3 is experiential, kind of breaking things, putting them back together. Line 4 is then the line 3, like you said, is transitional going up to the second floor, because the upper trigram, the 4, 5, and 6, those lines are about how this learning, this information, this contribution that people have, how it then is brought out into the world. And so line 4, as you said, is relational. It's in its communities, its networks. Line 5 is more universalizing. It is offering practical solutions to those. It's innovative. And line 6 is also like the long view, the role model. embodiment of all of it. So as I said, we're going to look at the 2-4 today, which I
Ooh.
love. I love a 2-4. I love everybody. I mean, I won't say it like that. The 2-4. I love 2-4. I have lots of 2-4s close to me, and they are, in my mind, whenever I've discovered someone's a 2-4, it always clicks for me. I'm like, oh, I see these people as just naturally creative, interesting people. So if we talked about the line 2, so that's what's it called in traditional human design?
The hermit.
The hermit. And this is the natural learner. This is, we talk about how. Go ahead.
Mm.
Well, you are a line 2. You're a 6-2.
Yes.
When we talk about in that house analogy of like ground floor, curtains open, they are observed a lot. They don't really want to be out in the world that much. It's called the hermit. It's because they like to be in their own process. As we've talked about the line 2 before with your experience, it's they learn through exploring things that they feel they're kind of good at. Not what they feel they're good at, but what comes to them naturally, right?
Yeah, and like I'm gonna try something if I think I'm gonna I think I could be good at it, or if I think I would really enjoy it. But like if I don't, I'm not gonna try something if I don't think I would be good at it and I would look a fool.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, whereas that's how you learn though, is through just kind of naturally exploring these things, and you'll quite often find the line 2 as a natural talent for something, and they like to go deep in their process. And when they go deep in their process, it becomes naturally attractive to those around them. And that's when they are observed from that outside window. It's like they don't really care what the world thinks about what they're doing and why anybody would be interested in them and why they find it interesting and why they even find it helpful. Like they don't
Yeah.
see their own natural talent,
The line
but
2 is like, I'm
others,
just doing my
yeah,
thing.
but others observe them and others see it and then draw them out in order to share that. That's why the windows are open. And
I know it's not what's actually happening, but when you say draw them out, it's like I see like you're putting little treats, like you're creating a treat line and drawing the line 2 out. I know it's like
it's a
not
polite way of
actually
doing
what's
it.
happening, but
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they have to be dragged out of their caves, really. It's true. Because they like it in there. It's cozy, it's where they like to have time alone to restore and to play and to like I said, process things in their own way, at their own pace, at their own rhythm. And so um they have no problem just closing themselves off like the hermit would. Hermit is the person that lives out away from the village, possibly in that cave, like I said, just going about his business, doing his own thing. Just leave me alone, you know? But sometimes people will be like, but hey, man, you're the
we
guy
need
that,
your help.
yeah, you're the guy that built this really cool thing. We need to know more about it. So you've got to come show us. Say, okay, if you promise to leave me alone later, I'll help you now.
I'll do this now, and then I'm gonna go back home and do my own thing.
Yeah, I'll be back. So honestly, this combination of 2-4. So then the 4, right? The 4 is externalizing energy. It's out there
Yep.
energy. And what kind of, we said like this, what's most important? What is the important foundations for a 4?
So like the biggest thing for 4 is they're not just trying to reach everyone. They're trying to build these really meaningful connections. Like they don't want surface level relationships with people. They want the deep stuff. They want real connection, real friendships, real relationship. Like that is so critical to them.
Yeah, they can have networks of people. Their way of externalizing what they know comes through their connections, through the opportunities come to them through other people. They're very building that stability in what is a relationship, really, what it means to be in a relationship, how to experience a relationship. And so relationships then are very important to them. And they crave stability in a interesting way where the line 4 does not like liminal spaces. Not that many people do, but it really does not like in between spaces. It feels unsteady and insecure. So the line 4 can tend to sure they have new they won't leave an old job until they have a new job. They won't leave an old partner until they have a new partner. It can get a little messy there for sometimes because those connections mean a lot to them, and it helps them feel steady and secure if they know what to expect, know what's happening, know what they can count on people for. They very much value trust in a relationship, and so they like to have very strong foundations there. They say that a lot of times a line 4, the people that they enter into romantic relationships with, they're friends with first. And also, once the relationship's over as romantically, they can tend to stay friends with these people because it's a very strong connection. And they also, it's the same thing in business too. They say line 4 is like, this is somebody that would have to really know the people that they're involved with. They're not just going to take, like you said, surface level connections. They want to connect with people, as a one-to-one first. And so their influence then is to their networks and the people that are close to them. They don't have to be friends with everybody. They're not looking to know everybody, like you said, but the way they bring their influence into the world is through these connections. So it could be a friend of a friend of a friend, but still there's going to be some kind of direct connection usually to these people. So what I love about a 2-4 is that it's so visible to me when I can then say, oh yeah, they're 2-4. These people love people, but they also just want to be left alone. It's a classic like introvert, extrovert in a way. They wouldn't necessarily say they're extroverted, but because the 4 in this aspect is in your unconscious side, right? They are more heavily identified with that too, that hermit side of them. And so I find when I look at a lot of the 2-4s that I know, well, like, your cousin, like, she's a 2-4. Friend of mine, she's 2-4. Marianne Williamson, she's a 2-4. It's like, these are people that have these innate skills and talents that when they focus on those and they're deep in those, the line 4 aspect, their connections, their people are the ones that are going to help. They are the ones that are going to help bring the right opportunities and connections to these people, right? So like,
I see
I
it
like to
so
think,
clearly in Lakeland.
yeah, well, I think about Marianne Williamson too. It's like, these are people, because she's an author, writer, teacher. Lakeland is an
Presidential
artist as
candidate.
well. Yeah. Hunter's a 2-4 as well. Your bonus brother. Your bonus brother. Yeah. 'Cause they have the same birthday. And, they're not looking for attention. They really enjoy being in their process, doing their thing. And people see that about them and they want to really like create opportunities for them. They want to share their work with other people. And because they care about them and they support them and they see their innate genius and talent and they want them to keep doing that. And so they are always trying to help them.
Trying to uplift them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is to see it up close, like you said, with Lakeland is interesting because she's an incredibly talented artist, painter. She's pretty much a natural. It is funny, that natural part of it, because her skill set really is in
art,
painting, drawing, the human form. She has a beautiful talent for bringing, I think, the essence of people through in her work. Like, even if she doesn't know the subject, she is so good at tapping into the essence of whatever is there in front of her. Like, she's even doing pet portraits, which if y'all want a pet portrait of your animal, please just let me know. She is like very talented.
I'm staring at one right now. I love it so
I know.
much.
And it's so interesting because that's just something she decided to try. And she's just wonderful at it. Yeah. So good at it. She always is like, and she knows she's talented, but she doesn't always really understand the level. Yes.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't, because it comes easy to her and she enjoys it, is the part of it that she agrees with.
Yes.
And But I often have to remind her and point out to her, like, what sets it apart to me, like I said, is that because I can see people, doing studies of other people and work and all this other stuff, and it's good and it's really,
Mhm.
but it carries a different energy. Like her energy, excuse me, her talent, I think she brings the light out of somebody. She
Mhm.
sees the like beautiful light essence in people, and it comes out in her paintings and in her work.
Mhm.
If you are, I'll link her in the show notes so you can see her Instagram, her art page that shows a lot of her artwork. You'll see what I'm talking about. But she also, so she's in college still. So she also learned, she took a class in ceramics
Mhm.
and found out she really liked it, really
Mhm.
liked it a lot. Never thought about it at all.
Mm.
And it came naturally to her. She's really good at it and she wants to explore her more. She also took a class in metalworking, which was incredibly difficult for her. She did not like it. She's still good at it, but she is not as passionate about pursuing that because she's like, no, that's not fun. Although she has a talent for it, she can
Mhm.
do it. She's not going to follow that one as much.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, like I said, a 2-4 always has this push pull of wanting to be out in the world, but also
Mhm.
wanting to be left alone. And it's a really important balance there between the two because both are really vital to
Mhm.
leveraging their impact. Because if they spend too much time alone, if nobody sees their work, if nobody hears their words, if nobody understands what they're doing, then it's kind of going to waste. So they
Mhm.
have to
Yeah.
also take the time to make sure they're out in the world creating connections and really
Mhm.
connecting with people.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, and I mean, Lakeland does that too. Like, I think she will probably talk to nearly anyone she sees,
Mhm,
like, to an extent. And then I think about, like when she did the art fields competition, the art competition a couple
mhm,
months ago, like, she wasn't the one that, like, decided to necessarily sign up for it. It was, like, her people around her that was like, "You need to do this again. Like, you are so good at it.
mhm.
You need to do this again." And she did it, and it was her connections that got her there, and then she won 3rd? She got
3rd, yeah.
3rd? Yeah, she ended up
Mhm,
winning 3rd because her talent is, like, so good, and it was, like, her community, her people were the one that were uplifting her and trying to showcase her natural
mhm.
talents.
Whichever, yeah, other people saw, and it was I think she did win because it's a competition of, 3 rounds of 1 hour drawing of a live model, whatever
1 hour
medium.
each round, yeah.
Yeah, 1 hour each round. Whatever medium you choose, painting, charcoal, pencil, whatever. And she used Posca paint pens, which nobody had ever seen. And it like again, I think she won because one, people had never seen it. Two, it was so colorful and there was so
Mhm,
much light and everything else was kind of muted and it was beautiful work too, but quite different. Like it
mhm.
really, I think, showcased, like I said, what her natural talent is in that medium. But anyways, so I was starting to say something, I can't remember. So these people are naturally influential.
Mhm,
They don't influence because they're trying to. They just influence because their very presence and their talents speak for them. They can draw people to them because, like I said, that line two is drawing people in. The more they go deeper into their process, the
mhm,
more it. And what I find interesting is, and I talk about Marianne because I do know Marianne personally. I campaigned with her and got to know her a little bit, but still, we're not like besties or
mm,
anything, but I have a personal experience, and I see within her the same thing I see within, Lakeland or even Hunter or, the other 2 fours I know is that they they get to a point where they have to get out in the world, like, that 4 still needs to be, like, fed in a way,
mhm,
It's like they really like their alone time, but when they spend too much time alone and they're not out with the people or with their people,
mhm.
it becomes this yearning that draws them out, and then they'll go out, but then they gotta go back. Like, they can't spend too much time out in the world.
They just need
They gotta
little,
come
like,
back.
little dose. They're like, "Alright, I got my people, and now I'm gonna go back home."
Yeah, because, like, Lakeland, she'll be like she loves spending time. She'll be in her room, she'll be in her
Mhm.
process, but, she was house sitting, and she had too much time alone by herself, and she just randomly call me, "Hey." But she's like, "Oh, I just miss my people. I need to be around my people."
Mhm.
Um, and I see it, like I said, with Marianne all the time too. She is a brilliant mind and a brilliant thinker and a great teacher and all these things. She's a teacher. She needs people around her. But a lot of like even how she first got published was because she felt the draw to share what she was learning, through A Course in Miracles work and all this other stuff. And people wanted to know more. So she started speaking more. And then even her first book, after she had given hundreds of lectures or whatever, a friend of hers said, you should write a book. And she's like, I don't know how to write what. And he's like, you've got all this material. You've got like all of these lectures you've done and everything else. And that's pretty much how that opportunity was brought to her, was through people. And um, it's funny because the people that know Marianne, follow Marianne, read her books or teachings, she can have so much impact on these people's lives, mine included, just sharing her gifts and her talents. I think I just lost one of my earbuds. Hold on one second. Where are my earphones? Mine just died. Hold on. Sorry, I just had to refigure there. I lost my AirPods. Sharing her gifts and talents. Okay. I was going to say.
How many lives sharing her gifts and talents, mine included?
Mine included, yeah. And as such, it's through, I think, these personal connections, even if they're like personal through just like reading a book, I think, it's like, or people go and hear her speak. When you're in a room with her, like she makes connections with people one to one in the room. Like it doesn't feel like someone just up on a stage talking at you. She gets down in the crowd. She's with people. She will get right in front of you and connect with you. Yeah, you've had that experience.
I have
too.
Yeah.
And so the impact she has in that way is incredibly influential. And I believe it's been through her contacts that has helped build her to where she is. Of course, everybody knows that it was Oprah Winfrey who, through meeting Winfrey, because Oprah read her book, of course, Return to Love, that's what really catapulted her career, was someone like Oprah Winfrey read her book, connected with her, brought her on, and that person exploded her like popularity. But I also, when I think about it now, it's interesting how I first knew her was through her work, watching her lectures, going to see her lectures. And I did meet her once in person before I ever like campaigned with her when she announced her first presidential campaign, 2020. And then again, this last cycle, which what everybody's looking for right now in a leader, is pretty much what she was offering. But anyways, it's interesting when I think about how the people, her network, the people who knew her work, knew what she did, could so clearly see her genius and how this is absolutely a role she could take on. This is what we need. But most of the world had no idea who she was. Like she could have influence of, I think, on her ex Twitter, whatever it was like 2 million some people, but the world doesn't know who she is, because it's like, it's interesting when I think about it. It's the only time I've first thought of it. Um, but I know for a fact she needs time alone. She needs time to process, but then she's always, I could see she wants to reconnect with her people again. She's always offering like Zoom calls with her community, her followers. Like she wants to feel the energy of these people. And we're not discussing her chart today, but I do know her chart. Like she's like very open. She has one channel. So she's essentially, it's sacral to root. So all openness in her chart. So she has a lot of influences. But yeah, so they tend to feel they want to be alone. They want to be in their process, but they themselves start to feel drawn out. I think that need to be with their people and their connection almost helps draw them out. That's that unconscious side of that chart. So, anyways, so we're also talking about by type here, how this expresses by type, but also how your type can help. How these two work together between profile and type, because it's how you do things, but then strategy is also going to make it the most aligned way for you to within your profile, if that makes sense. Excuse me.
I think so.
So as we've always said with the sacral types, the generators, manifesting generators, what's their strategy?
What am I? Wait to respond.
Thank you. Very
Jesus.
much. Yes. Wait to respond. So the generator aura we were talking about before in the other episode, it's a very big, open, enveloping aura because that means the energy field around them is big. It feels good. It feels welcoming and it's drawing people in. And you can see how this could be really, really beneficial within the 2-4 because that's their opportunities are coming through with that line 4 and their generator aura, bringing people to them. However, they've got to honor their sacral response, which will give them a yes or a no. That sacral response is there to help guide their energy towards what is going to feel most fulfilling to them,
Most aligned.
but also is going to be a correct use of their energy because they have that sacral energy that's always on, sustainable. Yeah. And so it's when these people are lit up, generator types, manifesting generators as well, they can do an incredible amount of work. They can get a lot done. They can really build and help things grow. And I can say, Lakeland's a generator. I think Hunter's a generator. Marianne's a generator. I have a friend who's one, she's a manifestor. But there is a lot of capacity there for work when these people are really engaged in things that they love. And that's by following that sacral response. And so that's going to help them. They're attracting a lot, but it's going to help them attract the right opportunities, the right people. There's going to naturally, I think, with that 2 aspect, the 2 and the 4, it's going to draw people in anyhow, but this is going to make sure that if they're listening to their gut, they're going to help, I guess, kind of narrow that field a little bit. So they're not saying yes to everybody and everything, hoping that this is the right connection or whatever. Or somebody's like, oh, you're great at this. And they're like, am I? But listen to their gut to know what the next move is going to be. So then for projector, what is the strategy there?
To wait for the invitation or
Right.
recognition.
Right. So the projector, as we said many times, it says waiting for invitation or recognition, but it's really in those instances where it involves their energy connecting with another one-to-one, whether it's also a demand of their time, their resources, their own personal energy. It is knowing how that their energy is going to be used in the most effective way. So we talked about this before. We were talking about line 2 and being a projector. The line 2 doesn't always recognize its own talents. And the projector also can struggle with that. It wants recognition, but it can almost feeling that it may not get the recognition it's looking for. It can sometimes push or initiate or force connections because it's afraid it's not going to get the attention it needs in order to get its message out or to share its wisdom. And so the line 2 projector needs to be, hold on. I had the thought and then went out of my head where I was going with that. The line 2 is a natural. It doesn't always see what it's good at. The projector itself's energy is more focused outward, less on itself. And so it is definitely going to need some time to be in its own process, to know where its gifts and talents lie, and then to strengthen that through their own process, through their own way of doing things, and then trust as a line 4, also as 2-4 projector, that it is their networks, their people they know, people that they know recognize them for their gifts and their talents are going to help bring those opportunities to them. So they're not going to have to work so hard, I think, in order to get that recognition, because it's kind of like they're going to have that little secret posse kind of backing them up.
Yeah.
Like
It's really like you gotta for like a 2-4 projector, like I can see it would be a lot more heavily like working on your own strengths, your own talents, and like really refining those and deepening those while you have your people that are kind of like showcasing you.
Yeah, no way, it's true. And so the 2-4 manifestor is the manifestor's strategy is
Inform.
informing. Yes. So this energy aura type is a little more closed off. It's more close to themselves because they, as manifestor types, are able to initiate on their own. They don't necessarily need, which is interesting in this respect, to talk about that. They say manifestors don't quote unquote need other people in order to kind of fulfill what it is they want to do. But they love people as much as anybody else. They love their people. They want to be around people. And this is a 2-4, so their people are going to be important to them. But so that's going to be extra important, that informing piece, because you want to make sure that when you're feeling that line two-ness of like maybe needing to draw within, maybe to go in your own space, to do your own thing, you've got to let your people, your community, your family, whatever, know that this isn't a reflection on us and how I feel about you. This is me needing my space. Um, and if you let them know that, they can honor that for you and allow you that time to be in your space, in your process, and know that when you're ready, you're going to come back out and they're going to be there to help you, get that out there. But you definitely need to realize that they can have that burst of energy, but then they need to like retreat and restore and get back into it. And then the 2-4 reflector, we always talk about reflectors. Most important thing is they have all their centers undefined. They're very affected by their environments because of all that openness in their chart. There's a lot of variability in their energy. And for a reflector, environment is so important because, the people there, if it feels good, means the right people are there for them. If it doesn't feel quite right or not that great, then probably the people that are in that environment are not really there to help them the way that other people could, let's say.
Yeah. It's not the best place.
Yeah. Because in general, for reflectors, they say when they're in the right environments, when it feels good and the people are good, a lot of the opportunities for a reflector in general are going to be brought to them through the people in their environment. So you can see the importance of also being a line 4 with this as well. It's going to be. So, but since they're line 2, that means they're going to need some time alone. And also with a reflector, they're going to need that extra time and space that's just theirs so that they can be free of auric contact of other people, but also so that they can be in their own process, so that when it's time for them to share that, then it's a nice clean energy that's their own and maybe not what they've picked up from other people that they might think is their thing, but it's not their thing. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to the portion here that we all love, which is where we share some real life examples of these types.
Well, we have kind of already done that, but it's like just people we know.
These are just people that know. We're going to talk about a few people who don't know.
So we're going to talk about some more general people.
Yeah, I have a lot of data on 2-4s.
Data.
So here's our first one.
Dang, let me see. Who do we got? Fred Rogers,
AKA, we call him Mr. Rogers.
Oh.
You probably don't have as great knowledge of Mr.
No,
Rogers as I do.
No, I never I know the general. He was a really sweet man. Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
What was his show called?
It's called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Never really watched it. Never seen it much.
It was on when I was a youngster. And it's funny, his name's Fred McFeely Rogers, which is just a strange name.
That's like perfection.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm like,
he has passed. He died he died in 2003 of, I want to say it was maybe stomach cancer or something like that.
Oh.
But
where is Latrobe?
Pennsylvania.
Oh. Okay.
So he has a lot of channels. He has the 2145. So he's emotional manifesting generator.
Yes.
4521, money line. 3536, transitoriness. 4629, discovery. 15-5, rhythm. And 39-55, emoting. So
I also love that his incarnation cross is the vessel of love.
Oh, it's so perfect because
it is.
I mean, this man was, first of all, let's talk about his manifesting generator part of himself. There's so much here too for. So he's known as being like this very quiet, trustworthy, deeply impactful, like just big, beautiful, kind heart and gentle. And he used that gentleness as a vessel of love to connect deeply with people. And his main objective with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and everything else was he cared deeply about children and how they experienced the world. And how what was different about his show was that this was also like the time of Sesame Street and everything else, where it was teaching children about learning and academics, more of the mind. Like his show was about focusing on children's social and emotional needs. It wasn't on cognitive learning, it was on their developing psyche and their feelings and their sense of like morals and ethical reasoning and stuff. So it was like
and compassion and
yeah. So the manifesting generator part, I want to say, was that he was an actor, he was a puppeteer, singer, composer, television producer, author, educator, and mostly he identified throughout his life as a Presbyterian minister. And so there was this, if you go on his Wikipedia, and I'll probably just link it in the show notes because it's such a wonderful, like 7-minute long video where he testified before Congress. It was in 1969. And because he was on PBS, it was about funding of PBS, which just probably wouldn't work now, but it was, they needed funding for his programming. And he ended up getting like $20 million for PBS from this very short, brief exchange with the congressman on this committee. And I'm surprised he's a manifesting generator. I almost think he'd be Projector, the presence he has sometimes, because that's what you always feel about Mr. Rogers, is he was just like, he listened to children. He was very soft and gentle, and he always kind of took people and his children. It was about, he said it in this video about how he just like, he wants children to, he thinks it's more interesting and more dramatic for people to, he even said 2 men to sit down and try to work out their problems by listening to each other and addressing that than using guns or violence. So it's just like, it was very compelling. I can't state it all, but I will link the video in the show notes so you can watch it. It's really special. But he wrote and edited all the episodes, played the piano, sang for most of the songs. He wrote 200 songs, 13 operas, created all the characters, both puppet and human, played most of the significant puppet roles, hosted every episode, and produced and approved every detail of the program.
Wow.
He had his hands in the clay. So when you look at his chart, open-minded, very creative individual. He's got that 39-55 emoting, and I feel like you could feel that presence from him, was creating from the heart for what,
he's got important. So much heart definition.
Yeah, that 29-46, that discovery. I talked about it said something, it was a quote up here I read that said he did things at his own pace, his own rhythm. He's got the 15, 5. And then that 45-21, that interesting, that's that voice of the tribe. It's that sovereign energy, which is very much, he had that presence of being a leader, but very much who also has that energy as a leader, is like our current leader in the opposite end of it. I feel like he was in the exalted end of it, of knowing what people need. And
benefiting the whole.
Yeah, both physically, mentally, emotionally. He has the 26 is also present, that integrity, personal integrity, spiritual, emotional, all that stuff. And so he's a really interesting individual and a good example, I think, of the 2-4, because he created a neighborhood. You felt like you were in his community, and they shared that, and they loved him for it because they really felt connected to him in that way. So that's Mr. Rogers. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
kind of different. I know you don't like this one. Baby full. Oh, gotta send it. Oh, I got this up singing. Yeah, who do we have? This one's gonna surprise you, I think.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I know you love some Nicolas Cage. I mean, maybe not as much as I do, but he kind of is a part of your childhood, isn't he?
I mean, I just literally watched National Treasure very recently.
No.
Okay, before we get into it, the one movie I don't like from his, I think it was The Knowing, where like it's all about the numbers and like there's the plane crash. I don't know. That was a freaky movie. That one scarred me a little bit in my younger
Plane
years.
crash.
It was like The Knowing, where like his kid just like started writing out these numbers and like they were like dates of things that were going to happen in the future.
Wow.
Pretty sure it was called The Knowing. It was a weird movie. That one kind of freaked me out.
I'll have to look it up. He's been in so many movies.
I know.
Yeah. So many movies. And so did you know his name is not actually Nicolas Cage? It's Nicholas Kim Coppola. He is the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, the famous director, which maybe not to your age, but my age. And did you know, I didn't know this. So I knew that he was the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola because Nicolas Cage is 61. I, along with many of my generation, I fell in love with him in Valley Girl back in the early 80s when he was in Valley Girl. It's the first movie I saw him. I was like, oh my God, those eyes. Yeah, these eyes. He was the not acceptable guy, which is all what I was about because he was more the punk guy and she's the Valley Girl. Love that fucking movie. And his cousin, see if you know who this guy is. His cousin is also Jason Schwartzman. Jason Schwartzman, the actor. He's like in movies and stuff.
Okay, let me pull him up on Jason.
We just watched him. He's in the movie Mountainhead that just came out on Apple. Jason Schwartzman.
Okay, I kind of know this guy.
He's in a lot of movies as well.
Okay.
But anyways, so Nicolas Cage aspired to act from a very early age. He said that he started acting because he wanted to be like James Dean. He saw him in like Rebel Without a Cause, which you don't even know what that is, probably.
I know the name. Did we say he was a projector yet? A splenic projector?
Oh, sorry. It's 2-4 splenic projector. I'm sorry. Yes. He has one channel, the 3254. Channel transformation. Everything else is undefined, completely undefined, sacral and throat. Completely open. Great for a artist such as him.
Yeah.
So, it's funny, transformation, there's those themes there of like what has the potential to come through, what has the potential for impact or has the potential, it's got ambition and all this other stuff in it. And that's his channel. 54 is also his sun gate. So, and 53, if you notice, he's got the penetration, right angle across the penetration. So that's the same as your husband. January 7th is his birthday. Yours, his husband's is the 6th, right? Yep. So they are 30 years apart. Well, 31 years apart. No, Presley's not 30. He'll be 30 next year, right?
No, he's 30. He turned 30 this year.
Did he turn 30?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. 95. So they're 31 years apart. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Totally irrelevant. But anyway, so back to why he started acting. He said, quote, nothing affected me. No rock song, no classical music. The way that James Dean affected me in East of Eden blew my mind. I was like, that's what I want to do. So that's what he pursued. And it's funny because I read something that said when he was 15 years old, he tried to get his uncle, Francis Ford Coppola, to direct him or give him a screen test because he wanted to act, right? Which it said in the Wikipedia article that when he said that, it was met with silence in the car because he's 15 years old. He's never had, and at this point, his uncle was an Academy Award-winning director. He'd already been directing Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, people like that. And there's this 15-year-old kid that's like, give me a screen test. But hey, that is Nicolas Cage. But it said he changed his name to Nicolas Cage because one of his first projects, movie he was on, which I can't remember what they said it was. It was some movie that everybody just kept quoting like movie lines from his uncle's movies back to him because they knew who he was. And so he did not like the experience of feeling like
he was someone else's shadow.
Yeah, so he created this persona of Nicolas Cage, but, you know, it's also probably what helped him get his foot in the door in the first place was maybe because of that, although I don't think he asked for it, but, you know, it was there.
Right.
So
It
what
was
I think
still a connection.
what I think, again, what's interesting about Nicolas Cage to me in this, like, 2-4 aspect is that he is a natural at what he does. He does it in his own way. Some people say
Yes.
that he's gone from acting to performing, like, even so much that one movie he's in that I still haven't seen yet that I really wanna see with Pedro Pascal, where he
Oh,
plays himself.
the, like, unbearable
Bearable
weight,
Light of
massive talent. I don't know. I get
yes,
such a
something like that. Yeah,
I can't think of it.
yeah, where he plays himself
Yes.
as a movie actor that's hired to, like, by a billionaire or whatever to, like, live out his movie fantasies. But, is that he does have his own unique style of doing things, and he could pretty much, I think, be a parody of himself like that in his movies where you're like some of his movies are bad, but you just love him anyhow because he's in them. He's
Yeah.
so good. Like Ghost Rider, what a weird movie, but Nicolas Cage is so good in
He's
it.
great.
I know. And it's like, Nicolas Cage, man. But then it's also like, you love that about him because it's just
Yeah.
who he is. And I think, you know, after people work with him and all this other stuff, he's I think got one of the most prolific resumes out there for an actor. He's been in so many things and has been panned, but also been highly like respected and regarded for his craft. And what I think is really interesting. Well, two things. First of all, he did win a Gold Globe for his part in what is it? I don't remember what it was. Is it Leaving Las Vegas? I don't know, but it says to prepare for the role, he binge drank for 2 weeks and studied
Oh,
footage. So he got drunk and then studied footage of himself in order to learn how to act
in
as
order to
this
act
person.
as a binge drinker drunk without
Yeah,
having to.
that's your own way of doing things, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Also, he developed his own style of acting called Nouveau Shamanic that
Oh.
he developed himself. He says it's about how do you augment your imagination in a healthy way so that you can believe you are these characters? You don't feel like you're acting. You feel like you're being. And I was like, yeah. And then someone else described, as David Lynch, actor or the director, described him as the jazz musician of American acting. Just perfect. It's perfect. But yeah, he's an interesting character for sure. And beyond that, I would say that this is somebody who's going to be very instinctual, following his own instincts, that splenic authority, especially with that one channel there of knowing what he can bring through, what projects, what people have potential to succeed. He's meant to definitely work with other people with all that openness. He's got to be careful about overworking, which he's worked a lot. And I just love that completely open throat center for someone like him as an actor to like,
It works really well in his favor.
yeah, it's just a very joy to watch, I think, because he is just naturally talented at being himself.
Yeah.
All right, one more. This one I think we
Okay.
have talked about before, but I had such a hard time. Not such a hard time, but I think it's just somebody else is a natural for what they do. And we already talked about her, honestly. You see.
Oh, Miss Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey, 2-4
Hello.
emotional generator.
Yes.
With the 1949 synthesis, the 6124 awareness, the 2946 discovery, and the 3457 power. And I mean, I don't think we need to discuss Oprah too in depth. I think the whole world knows who she is.
I think so.
And I think it's also interesting that the way people, even though she's a public figure, you feel connected to her. She has that way of just making you feel like you're her friend.
Yeah.
I know I do. And the reason I brought her up in particular is I just loved her 6124 channel because that's like that's the one that's like, what did she popularize in her culture was the aha moment. Like that came from Oprah. Like everybody knows, like she had an aha moment, right? And that is literally what we talk about all the time in this channel is having these aha moments. And she is obviously there because I said that defined head and ajna. And then she's a triple split definition. So she has the head and ajna, she has the G and the sacral connected, then she has the sacral, the spleen connected, but then the root and the solar plexus are separate from that. So it's like that would indicate to me that there's these different aspects of herself that she would probably feel like her emotional self could feel different from the emotional. A lot of times defined head and ajna, there's people that want to lead with the mind. But that's also, you can see within that 61 and the 24 is that's 61's gate of mystery. And as she moved throughout her career, she definitely moved more towards that discovery of what it means to be a spiritual being, having the human experience kind of thing. She got her start in the talk show world, but by doing her own thing, following her own path, she went deeper into what she was good at. And it is that mind of hers of being able to really dive deep into the mysteries of the world and the universe and give it time to marinate and then have those aha moments and have them come through. And
I feel like even if you were to look at like everything that she's done with her talk show and then like she had like Super Soul Sunday and all of that, like I think you can see parts of all three of her splits in what she's done.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Because that 1949, that's it is a sensitivity there, but it's like it is knowing who to bond with, creating contracts. There's like it's relational there. It's where marriage is in the chart, commitments, those kind of things. And then the other connection there, the 34, 57, again, her own personal power, instinctual. She's got a lot of intuition, a lot of spleen gates highlighted there. She has gate 50 is there, which is it's in her unconscious Saturn. Gate 50 is that responsibility, knowing tribal values, all that stuff, or that uh, coming to meet, which is that uh, setting the stage, making people feel comfortable, making things nice so that you can help the seal the deal kind of thing, help people feel comfortable so that it's more well received what you have to say. But then she has a completely open will center. And so she, in my opinion, is able to come from a place that is not ego based, that is like wanting to serve and feeling the maybe pressure at times to prove herself in that way. But ultimately, she's wise about willpower, how it's used, and like that. Also, lots of throat gates, but no definition. I mean, undefined throat.
Yeah.
And you see where her gates are on that right side of the chart, reaching more towards the solar plexus. So when she does connect that voice, it can have a lot of impact and really move people on the way they, feel, see things, hear things, experience things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that wraps that up, I think. And does she have something else you want to say about her chart?
No.
No. All right. So, just to recap there with the 2-4, making sure that you have that time alone to be in your process, but also, I don't think the 2-4 has to worry so much as other two combinations about hermiting too much, because I think they're really going to feel that natural pull. Underneath everything is going to be this unconscious need that they have to connect with their people. And their people are going to want to connect with them to help support them in their work so that they can keep going deep into their brilliance, I think is pretty true. So little bit of a push-pull there with their interactions in life, but overall,
a little bit. But I will say it feels like one of the more harmonious profile combinations.
Yeah, I mean, it's not There is that tension there, though, between wanting to be alone and wanting to be out in the world. But I think it can work really well together. Like you said, it can be less jarring, I think, for the two to get pulled out into its people. Yeah, because they like being there. I like being with them. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the episode. So you know what that means. What time is it, Haley? What time is it? What time is time for? It's time for
the incarnation cross of the week.
Yes, it is. I can't believe you keep doing that. So anyways, yes. So we wrap up every episode highlighting one of the 192 incarnation crosses in the human design system, very closely tied to profile because it is also derived from your sun and earth gates on the chart. It is a combination of the conscious and unconscious sun and earth gates. And so they kind of help show your purpose here in life, your path, what you're here to share, how you're going to go about it in the world. And so we like to read a little synopsis here so that, as you've said many times, aspirational, because these are energies that are inherent within you anyhow. To really help bring it to this level that we're talking about here is when you're just following your strategy, your authority, and you are walking through life in alignment with how your energy wants to express and how it's meant to interact in the field. This is what really shines through in your personality. So this week, we're looking at the left angle cross of identification.
Ooh.
So that means it's a left angle. So that means what kind of profile is it?
The profile starts with a 5 or 6.
Correct. So this cross consists of, on the right side of the chart, personality gates. The sun is going to be in gate 9, focus. The earth is in gate 16, skills. Then on the left side of the chart, the red side, the unconscious side of the chart, the sun is in gate 64, confusion. And the earth is in gate 63, doubt.
So you have focus, skills, confusion, and doubt.
Yes.
Hey, I know some. I know 3 of these.
Yeah, 3 of those. Yeah, just not up in those places. Well, you have a 63 and 64. Okay, let's move on. Okay.
Sorry, it's about me.
So if you were born under the left angle cross of identification, you're here to create from a place of security and certainty. Your gift is knowing when it's the right time to begin something new, and that begins with feeling resourced, supported, and grounded. Once the foundation is solid, your mind opens up to explore, experiment, and innovate. You see connections that others miss. You can take a complex idea and turn it into something useful, something that moves people forward. Your role isn't to chase every possibility. It's to say yes to the right ones and show others how to trust the process of trial, discovery, and refinement. Your purpose is to guide others through the unknown with focus and clarity. You inspire people to stretch the limits of their thinking with curiosity and intention. You're here to help others see that experimentation doesn't have to be risky when it starts from a place of inner certainty. Your willingness to try, to keep learning, and to stay open is what lights the way for others. You lead with a quiet confidence that new ideas can and should solve real problems.
Good. Always good.
Good. So if you're still here, still listening to us, that means you might like hanging out with us. So we invite you to come to our next community call. As of airing, that's going to be tomorrow on the 25th of June. We're going to do one every month. It's going to be the 4th Wednesday of every month for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's our plan.
And so if you get on the email list, you'll know when those are. We will send out an email day of with the details of where to meet. And we can this will definitely be talking this week or this month about profiles. And maybe we'll get some people on there with us. See what we do this week, this month, 2-4, 5-2. I don't remember what the other ones are now. Shit, I can't remember, but we'll figure it out by then.
Yeah.
But we'd love to see you there and
it's fun.
Yeah. So with that, we're just going to wrap it up. We're going to make it easy, make it fast, and just say bye for now, Haley.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.